Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of P Practical. And this episode, we're doing it slightly different. So, I am actually just recording this on my mobile. So, I don't have the cameras being used today, nor microphones. This is just a quick video because I missed last week. And I'm just going to talk about why. So, this episode, just going to go over a few things. Going to talk PSM Productions and how that's going since the attempt to turn that into a business of some sort. Also going to look at looking for work. So outside of PSM Productions, I was looking for a job, obviously so I can earn an income whilst looking at PSM Productions. Also going to talk about something else that I've sort of looked into doing, which I have straight after this, which is why I had the chance to set everything up and just kind of like putting this one through. And then just kind of like an update in terms of life in general. So let's begin. PSM Productions. So, having left my job back in November 2025, I've gone on the journey to kind of build PSM Productions into a business of some sort. So at the moment, I can report 0 paid work completed, but this is early doors. But what I have done is invested in Google Ads. So started that, I think, January. So we've got about a month's worth of data, and the first months were really slow. And there was a lot of learning. So Google Ads kind of gave me a steer. I set up some basic stuff. I say basic, I haven't done anything that different. But I set up those first adverts and things like that, which it had a good score. So on Google, there's like a score. So far, the campaign is above 90. I've always had above 90, so that's been really good from what I understand. But yeah, very slow in terms of getting the traction. But then all of a sudden, after about 2 weeks, the clicks just went really high. Loads of clicks, like we was getting like 60 or something, but nothing really converted. That was a bit frustrating, but it was good to see it getting out there. I then took a different tactic, which was to then add the YouTube videos onto those adverts to kind of show that, PSM Productions is a real thing. What goes on behind the scenes. So the videos that are on this channel, the ones that are practical and kind of go behind the scenes and shows like the equipment and stuff, those have been linked to Google Ads. And what that has seen is prank calls, which was, I look back now, it was funny, but I was having a proper conversation with someone about filming, like, I don't know, like, it was weird. She said, like, a nun or something. I don't even I don't know what that was. But I've also had like marketing companies reach out to me. So that shows me that the PSM brand is being seen, has obviously ticked some boxes for some people. And on the back of that, I have had 3 actual proper inquiries, 2 quotes given out, 1 still sort of talking through, but positive. So, been able to quote, haven't given any discount, been true to the price, and yeah, just need to kind of see where those go. In addition to that, I attended something called the BNI, which is like, I don't know, well, it's global, but I attended one in Leicester because I live in Leicestershire. I think there's more than one in Leicester. So what this was loads of local businesses, probably about maybe 35 or so, get together, and basically there's a commitment by these businesses to attend every set day. So this one set day was Thursday, even though I got up there and said Happy Tuesday, every Thursday. And they basically say, like, to the room, I need this kind of information, or if anybody knows this person in a business. So it's really cool. But the only thing with it was you had to pay to get a seat at the table. But it was quite an interesting concept, because what happens is you secure your business type. So me as a videographer, if I paid for that seat for the year, I would be the only videographer there. And when I say a vast variety of businesses, there really was. One person did actually, well, I gave out a few cards to be fair. One person actually helped me, looked at the Google ads and gave me some feedback. So I appreciate that. Thank you if you see this. Had another person sort of say they'll reach out to me, but they haven't, or maybe that was a prank call, I don't know. So yeah, I only went once. You can only go twice, and they have certain days that newbies can go. It was something I was looking at, but it was quite a lot of money. And the problem is that I'll come to is that I now have a job, and that day is one of my working days. So to get there for 6:30 and be there till 9, I wouldn't be able to get to work. So that wasn't really an option for me. But they do have different days. So now that I know, or I think I'm working out what my schedule is, it is actually something I'll probably revisit if there is availability on a day that I could do. So yeah, PSM Productions. I do have 2 shoots that I'm doing. One is for free. It was a commitment I made to someone when I was very early on, and that individual did actually respond to me like the early days, so I'm going to honor that. And another one is the one I'm talking about, potentially becomes a quote. So 2 shoots coming up. Obviously I haven't had the chance, apart from doing this, to use the cameras, so I am looking forward to that. So next thing is, I've mentioned I do now have paid employment. So I have gone back into human resources, which is my background, but I've actually picked a business where they're allowing me to do operational stuff as well. So I do have a reasonably okay operational skill set, which I did fortunately get to explore for a year in my the last company I worked for. Wasn't able to continue that longer term as much as I would like. So to find a role that actually allows me to do both is ideal, because what I would like to do is, from a work perspective, go down the operational route, but with a CV that pretty much says 20 years of HR, it's pretty difficult. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to talk about the job search. And the reason I want to touch on this is because I used to do a lot of recruitment myself, being in HR, and I kind of built some like principles, if you like, or ways of working. So that was, always to get the feedback. Sometimes I would even give the feedback in the interview itself, because it gives the person the opportunity to kind of like answer the questions, or you can be upfront with people, right? Because I was very fortunate until recently never to have to really be in a job search or out of work and searching for a role. So I don't know how I had that inkling, but it's a respectful thing, right? So my job search didn't didn't give me the same sort of ways of working. So I'd have interviews and I get the feedback that someone else was a better fit. One of them, really, if I'm honest, I couldn't understand. Like, it was the same. It wasn't the exact same business type, but it was a similar industry, products I've worked with and stuff like that. And it was to do a HR role. And I got told there was a person who was a better fit. Now, in the industry, unless you get someone from like one of the competitors I left, I'm not quite sure who. So I did actually message the individual and just say, look, obviously, like, I'd like to understand how they were a better fit. No response. 0. No response. Very frustrating. I had other interviews where I was apparently too experienced. So it was a really frustrating time. I was fortunate because I hear people don't get interviews and stuff. Like, I was very fortunate that I had probably in the 2 months, probably about 10 interviews, and I think 5 final stages, and I was fortunate enough to be offered 3 different roles. So I was very fortunate, but that's not the same for everyone. And I just think, looking at LinkedIn, what a depressing place. Like, there's loads of people out there, loads of skill, etc. And there are jobs, like I would say for the jobs to people I see ratio, yes, there is more people than jobs, but there's a reasonable amount of jobs. And I think, if I take my own experience, I know what I can bring to the table. I'm quite confident. And I'm sure there's other people out there who are quite confident but just not getting the opportunity. So the search was frustrating. Being offered was interesting. Like, I was fortunate enough that I was paid considerably well previously. So I always knew that if I was going to go back into HR, there was going to have to be a compromise on pay. And I think maybe this is a thing where it's a weird one. Businesses get stuck and maybe the searcher. So I myself, the businesses that I got to final stage, I asked questions about the businesses, and the reason why is so that I could understand whether or not it'd be reasonable to bench myself where I, perceive myself to be, and everybody inflates it, right? I'm not the only one. Or whether it's a business where you need to go lower, prove yourself, and then ask the question. And if you don't, then you've got something from the business journey that you can take with you that supports your claim of being up here. If it doesn't go that way, but substantial enough that you could still have a lifestyle of sorts. Now, the bit I wasn't prepared for was that I'd actually go part-time. So that's where the bit about having my working days and schedule is. I've actually gone back part-time. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to not... Well, I say that. I think when you look at what the full-time options are and the pay that's being offered, in the main, I kind of took a look back and said, should I potentially look for part-time? Because I can get a decent amount as a salary, and I can get some time back to invest in PSM productions or maybe make up that deficit, obviously not immediately, but also just get a bit of life back. So I was offered 2 part-time opportunities. Both offers were the same, just one came with a car, which I didn't take that one, which was regional. And this one is single site location. Now, the reason I took this one, because the commute is not nice. The commute is quite long. It's an hour, which shouldn't mean anything to someone who used to do 4 hours, 5 hours a day in the car, but I'm getting older now. So, yeah. But if I can bridge the gap later on, if things don't work in terms of staying on, so both roles were contract roles. This one, obviously, with that ability to do the operational side, made a bit more sense to me, because that's what I'm hoping eventually maybe I could break into more prominently. And this one gives me that. So although it doesn't come with a car, comes with a commute, I can do that for 3 days. The only thing I underestimated was the fatigue. So at the moment I'm on week 3. The working days, my alarm is now 4:30, so I can go to the gym, come home. I say 6, I never get home at 6. I get home at 6:30. 6:15 actually, not 6:30. I'm doing myself a disservice. And then out the door for 7, get there for 8:15. So I wanted to keep the gym going, because I've managed to get a decent rhythm since not being at work. The next thing is looking at a new venture, which I have a mentoring call with. So a bit skeptical about this, if I'm honest. I am investing money into it, which is quite a lot. But I think between myself and my wife, we possess the skill set to be able to have a reasonable go at this. My wife won't be involved, but I can ask her for some support, because she knows, she built my website for PSM, she knows how to use the web. So yeah, very early doors. I'm a bit dubious. I have part of the money already for it, but let's see what happens in 28 minutes. So that should be cool, and if that does become something, then that will become a thing on this channel as well. But I just got to a point where, if you want to set up a business, if I look at PSM Productions, I've probably put in 20 grand now into all the equipment, the cameras, the this and that. And, like I say, I've received probably not even a grand yet in terms of paid work from it. So this model is a lot less input in terms of cash, like significantly less, but I'm just a bit dubious of how much more is reasonable to part with. So hopefully that starts doing something in a couple of months or so, but keep your space. The next thing is just life in general. So life's very different. Having left a world where I was in a national role and traveling the UK sort of 2 days, 3 days a week does take its toll. Staying away overnight, at least 1 day a week. So yeah, I didn't realize taking the time out of work full time. I didn't realize how much I missed with the kids. That was the first thing. Like for 3 months, I got to do the school drop off. I got to do the collection. That was really cool. Think I'm starting to build a better relationship with them, which I'd be completely honest, I think wasn't the best. Not because I'm the world's worst father or nothing, but I wasn't really present minded. The job I had, you took it home, whether you'd like to or not, you just did if you cared enough. Which I'm not blaming the workplace, I'm just saying that's how it was. Whereas, already in this job, yes, I do think about it, but I've been kicked out the door at 4:35, which I've had previous life calls booked in at 5, or I've been asked to be on calls and knowing that I have to go and get the kids. So it's a very different life. I feel a lot more relaxed, feel a lot more healthier in general. Like I've been in the gym consistently now for a month. I've only lost 1 kilo, which is poor numbers for me personally, but I do feel a lot better, starting to eat right. Yeah, it's weird. I have a lot more headspace. Like, technically doing PSM, doing the job, a job that's using both my skill sets, but I still have headspace. I don't know if that's because of the part-time. Obviously, I'm new, so maybe things will ramp up. It is starting to, but at the moment, it's flowing pretty well. And yeah, I've been able to think about things a lot more. I'm okay at making decisions, but I've been taking my time a little bit. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what the rest of the year brings. The contract in this job is, I think, 13 months. So, in 11 months' time, I'll be looking for another job if past my probation and stuff. The weather's getting warmer. Last week in the gym, it was -1 degrees in the morning. Today, 10 degrees. So, yeah, looking forward to things. We won't talk about Arsenal. So the shirts you see in the background are Arsenal shirts, if that hasn't been worked out already. Massive Arsenal fan. We are still top of the league, currently as it stands. We've just beaten Tottenham 4-1. We're bad, but not Tottenham bad. That's my joke for the day. But yeah, so far, things are going well. Happy with the PSM production side. Yes, no paid work, but I'm happy with the progress. I'm happy that it's being noticed. I'm happy that there is a brand of sorts. The job, like I said, gone part-time, feels like the right decision at the moment, feeling in a good space. And yeah, that's it. I said it'd be quick, 19 minutes. I'm just going to wrap up now, and thanks for listening, and yeah, take care. Peace.